What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised. We're celebrating the sassy, sharp-tongued Dowager Countess with these 10 best moments, with one-liners such as, "Principles are like prayers, noble, of course, but awkward at a party." It was really difficult for us to pick 10 moments only, but we did it anyway. Here they are. A weekend. In one of our previous videos, we placed the Dowager Countess aka Violet Crawley, if we're being disrespectful, on number 1 on the list of the greatest Downton Abbey characters. We strongly believe fans agree with our choice, and that's why today we're going through some of her best moments in the series. Let's start, shall we? One of her most memorable moments occurred back when the audiences were introduced to Matthew Crawley. He and his mother were welcomed in the estate. And during a conversation between Matthew and Lord Grantham at the dinner table, Lord Grantham says to Matthew that he should focus on the estate rather than focusing on the law stuff. But he says, "There's always the weekend." Then, all of a sudden, the Dowager asks, "What is a weekend?" You see, she has no idea what a weekend is simply because this was a word used mostly by the working class in the 1930s. How do you explain the weekend to a woman who has never worked in her entire life?
What is a weekend?
Mrs. Crawley and Lady Grantham. The unforgettable duo. Lady Grantham and Mrs. Crawley were in a constant battle due to their different beliefs. As previously said, Matthew comes to the estate with his mother, Isabel. Isabel might seem a lot similar to Violet at first, but she's not. There's this one noticeable difference between them. Isabel is not so strict when it comes to traditional views. Violet's deceased husband was an earl, and you see, Isabel's a doctor. But they must learn to live together, and this is why we love their bond. They are hilarious! In this section, we love to include all those moments where Lady Grantham and Mrs. Crawley did their best not to turn this conflict into something more serious. But before we continue, we want you to share your own favorite moment between these two ladies. Helping Mr. Molesley. Mr. Molesley is one of the most loved characters in Downton. His enthusiasm over anything was the perfect addition to the series. But when he lost his job after Matthew Crawley died, he was scared about his future. The Dowager then helped Molesley get another job while giving some money to Mr. Bates. Bates then gave that money to Molesley, and if you're wondering how much money Bates gave Molesley, it was about 1,350 UK pounds or 1,670 US dollars. Bates did this for Anna, the love of his life. He was the brain behind this unselfish deed, while the Dowager was the generous investor. Principles are like prayers. Violet Crawley is a person who's not afraid to express herself, even if her opinion is uncalled for. She wants to make sure her wise words will come out. Such an instance occurred in the 5th season's premiere episode. While at the dining table, the Downton members were having a talk about politics and classes. Violet then decided to lecture the younger members with, of course, a sassy statement. In yet again heated discussion between Violet and Isabel, Isabel says how incredible it is to see young people stand up for their principles. Lady Grantham then declares, "Principles are like prayers. Noble, of course, but awkward at a party." This moment, more precisely, this statement will stay forever on the list of best Dowager Countess moments.
Principles are like prayers. Noble, of course, but awkward at a party.
Supporting Tom Branson. Tom Branson and Sybil Branson were our favorite couple in the series. They both truly loved each other, and despite the Crawley family's opposition to their love for each other, they got married, and Sybil gave birth to their first child. But when Sybil loses her life during childbirth, Tom is left with their child, and he initially plans to leave the estate with the newborn. However, he later adjusts to the new situation and decides to stay in the estate. Throughout his days in the Crawleys' home, Tom wasn't really welcomed by the family, and out of all the people in the estate, the Dowager Countess was the one to help him. Even before he was left alone with his child, the Dowager was the one to send Tom and Sybil money to come to Mary and Matthew's wedding. The weather. What do you think makes the English the way we are? I don't know. Opinions differ. Some say our history, but I blame the weather. Indeed, one of the Countess's best quotes from the entire series, and as you already know, she is mostly known thanks to her witty, sassy one-liners. Throughout the series, Violet Crawley decided to help different kinds of people, despite where they come from or who they are. She helped the downstairs members as much as she helped her own family, aka the fellas upstairs. One of the most interesting relationships is, without a doubt, the relationship between her and her daughter, Lady Rosamund Painswick. Even if they were different in many aspects, they shared the same sense of humor. When Downton Abbey released its final episode in 2015, we really didn't know what to expect. And then, Julian Fellowes, the creator of the series, and the two Downton films decided to mark the last episode with an incredible moment of Violet Crawley. When Rosamund asked Lady Grantham, "What do you think makes the English the way we are?" her mother said, "I don't know. Opinions differ. Some say our history, but I blame the weather."
Opinions differ. Some say our history, but I blame the weather.
The perfect roses. Once a year, the village prepares for a flower show, and in this show, the Dowager of Countess is always the winner. Her roses are given the trophy every single year. That was until Isabel got mad at Violet over how the competition is judged. And then, Violet did something none of us expected. In the end, she gave the trophy to Bill MOLESLEY, whose roses deserved the trophy. A lot of fans don't actually see the backstory of this episode. You see, Violet initially thought she was winning because her roses were indeed the best ones. She never thought the award went to her because of the fact that she was the Countess of Grantham. Once she gives the awards to Mr. MOLESLEY, she understands it's the right thing to do. What do you guys think about this scene? Let us know. Helping Lady Edith. Season 4 of Downton was filled with plenty of surprises, one of them being linked to Lady Edith's pregnancy with her lover, Michael Gregson. Sadly, Gregson lost his life and Edith decided to keep the child. After an attempt to see a doctor about having an abortion in London, her aunt Rosamund says to her that she needs to leave the country and go somewhere else if she wants to keep the child. The Dowager discovers what happened to Edith, and she actually agrees with Rosamund's plan. Understanding how big of a scandal would occur if Edith were to have the child at home, the Dowager then supports Edith by deciding to pay for the trip and every other thing Edith would need in the new country. Lady Grantham is right.
How you hate to be wrong. I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar with the sensation.
We've already mentioned the ongoing feud between the two of the most memorable ladies in Downton, Lady Violet Crawley and Isabel Crawley. When they first meet at the series' beginning, we knew they won't get along so much in the following episodes. The major difference, as already mentioned, was that both of them led very different lives. To our surprise, the two of them learned how to appreciate each other despite their differences. In the 4th season, when we first saw their friendship and love for each other, Isabel says, "How you hate to be wrong," to which the sassy Lady Grantham replied, "I wouldn't know. I'm not familiar with the sensation." I'm so sorry. When Violet says I'm sorry, it's usually for something she's not sorry about at all. You see, this is a woman who pays a lot of attention to the dress code, which was apparently the case with every elderly woman who enjoyed such life back in 1930s. Because of this, she would often criticize her family members if they weren't dressed up for the occasion. And once, she saw her son Robert in a white tie event wearing a black tie. "I'm so sorry. I thought you were a waiter," she said.
Oh, do you think I might have a drink? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were a waiter.
Do you guys agree with our list? Is there a moment worth of mentioning that we forgot? Let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed our video, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll never miss any of our videos in the future. As always, thanks for watching.